Hello everyone, we shall be discussing today regarding the informal education. Let us see the brief outline, meaning and concept. We will be talking about characteristics of informal education, agencies of informal education, family as an agency of education, functions of the family, educational functions of family, and finally the concluding remarks. Let us see the meaning and concept. Informal education is that type of education which does not follow the usual rules, methods, techniques, and disciplines of formal education. Informal education includes educating one through informal communication and reading books. It is not pre-planned or predetermined, but it is a spontaneous activity which is obtained from a wider environment as contrasting to the four walls of a classroom. So here, education is obtained by living with other members of the community. It may be from the press, library, literary clubs, mass media like radio, television, internet, audio and video cases, etc., and also from the religious organizations. So informal education is obtained freely and spontaneously. Informal education starts from the birth of an individual and ends at the death of the individual. So we can say that it is a lifelong process, and an important feature of this education is that while receiving this education, no rules and regulation or neither discipline is to be followed or maintained. So neither educational authority has any kind of control or influence upon them or the learner. So for receiving informal education, the individual does not have to get admitted to any school or college. He need not follow a fixed routine or a fixed curriculum either. So there is no fixed point of entry or exit also like formal education or any system of evaluation or examination to be conducted at the end of the session. So there is no examinations and no evaluation as well. So this education is obtained at one's own will and interest, and it is informal, situational and incidental in nature. Let us see the characteristics of informal education. Informal education does not have any boundary or limits. It is much wider in scope than any formal system of education. And this system of education doesn't have any definite place. One receives this education by living with other members of the society. And this education is not pre-planned, nor it has any predetermined curriculum or timetable. So informal education does not follow any definite methods or techniques of education. Here education is achieved through experiences only. So no specialized teachers or guides or professionals are appointed for providing informal education to the learners. Informal education is spontaneous and it is free from all sorts of authoritative control and restriction. It is also free from any disciplinary rules and regulations. We can say that informal education is a lifelong education starting from the mother's womb and ending in the grave. So no degree, diploma or certificate is awarded in informal education, and it is indirect, incidental and not pre-planned, and there is no specialized agency to impart this type of education. So sometimes we can say, or it may take place that informal education may be negative education also. So these are the agencies of the informal education: family, home, community, peer group, mass media. Under mass media, radio, television, films, newspapers, magazines, all those things will come up. And in today's class, we shall be discussing only regarding the family as an agency of informal education. So let us see family as an agency of the education. The family is the most important primary group found in every society, and it is the most universal of all social institutions. The family is constituted when a man and woman lie together and form with their offsprings a distinctive unity. In a wider sense, the family may be defined as a group of the person united by ties of marriage, blood or adoption, constituting a single household, interacting and communicating with each other in the respective social roles of husband and wife, of son and daughter, mother and father, brother and sister, creating and maintaining a common culture. So the family is ageless and common to all social systems. It is the smallest, we can say, and most intimate group of the society, and it occupies a nuclear position in the social So in many simpler societies and in the more advanced patriarchal societies, the whole structure is built of the family units. Even in modern complex civilizations, the local community is usually a union of the families. The family is the heart, the home, the place where the generations are brought continuously together, where old and young must learn to make ever-changing adjustment to the ever-changing rules in the life cycle. As an educational agency, the role of the family is no less important. Before the start of formal education of the child, the home soldiers the responsibility of his education. So the family exerts tremendous influence on the growth of the child. The early social direction takes place at home. House or family is the ideal place for preschool education of the child. To talk of functions of the family, let us see every human being is the representative of home or family, and as is the home, so are the members of the family, and so shall be the society. So family is the most important informal agency of the education, we can say, and it is an agency which is responsible for imparting the early education and laying down the basis of the further education. So we can say that it is the foundation level. In the words of Ballard, he have mentioned that family is the original social institution and from which all other institutions have developed, the basis indeed. So it is an institution to which every one of us is born, and there is no parallel or substitute of the home as an agency of the education. Therefore, the home climate has to be conducive and suiting for the proper growth and development of the individuals, and history have revealed that almost all the great educators in the past emphasized the importance of this agency of the education. Say for example, educationists like Pestalozzi, Rousseau, John Locke, Gandhi and many others have spoken in favor of home and its educative role in the life of the individual. So let us see the views or the ideas shared by Pestalozzi. According to Pestalozzi, he has said the importance of home in this way. Home, a center of love and affection, is the base place for education and the first school of the child. So thus, Pestalozzi have regarded home as an indispensable factor in the child's training and mother as the foundation head of all the through education. According to Froebel, mothers are the ideal teachers and the informal education given by whom is most effective and natural. Let us see the viewpoint of Henderson. According to Henderson, a child's education begins in his home itself. And according to Rousseau, mother is the true nurse and father is the true. And then under the functions of the family, a simple perusal of the above mentioned views by Pestalozzi, Froebel, it makes it clear that the home is one of the most significant primary groups which are first influencing the individual and in shaping his attitude and behavior patterns. So we can say that home or family is the only institution which is an essential agency for the child rearing, socialization, and for introducing the child to the culture and developing the child's personality. So its various functions will be elaborated. Now, let us see all the functions of the family one after the another. Let us see the physical first functions of the family, that is the physical development or the physical functions. Physical development of the child is the basic and an important function of home. Parents and other members of the family are always careful about the health and well-being of the child. So for this purpose, useful physical experiences, exercises and other activities are provided to the child, and this inculcates the habits of cleanliness and sense of the healthy living, which talks about the physical development which takes place in the family or at home. Another one is the emotional development. Family is the basis of emotional development. It provides emotional stability to the child. Unity and good fellow feeling in the members of a family affect the emotional makeup of the child and develop in him healthy and positive emotions such as sympathy, courage, affection and love, etc. And on the contrary, in a broken home develops negative emotions such as fear, anger, jealousy, etc. in the child. So home is the basis for the emotional development, and we should be careful at home how to develop the emotions of the child and whether to give the positive emotions or to develop the negative one. The next function of the family is the intellectual development. The development of the intellect of the child is another main function of the home. It means development of mental powers, namely thinking, feeling, reasoning, discrimination, judgment, and memory. Therefore, adequate opportunities and experiences should be provided to the child in the home to develop these powers. So, even intellectual development takes place at home, and it is another functions of the family. Let us see the another one, that is the social development. It is in the home that the child gets his first social relationship, in which and through which he acquires and organizes his experiences. In other words, home is the cradle of all social virtues, and a child learns all the social virtues, values, habits such as love, cooperation, tolerance, responsibility, sense of belongingness, etc., by living with all other members of his family in his home. So, home it is the first place or the first agency of socialization and as well as the social development. The next function that we have is moral development and development of the character. Children are influenced by their parents, and a child learns to behave after his or her parents. He or she acts as the other members of the family act, and they learn the code of conduct by way of imitation. So, moral development or moral training is one of the basic functions of the family or home. Being moral, the character of the child gets refined, and therefore, home leads to the development of the character of the individuals. The other functions of the family that we have is transmission and development of the culture. As a matter of fact, each society has its own culture, and that culture is still practiced in families and homes. And in schools, culture is taught, whereas in homes it is taught. So we can say that the child of a particular family imbibes the culture of his family consciously or unconsciously. So along with school, the home or the family have got the transmission and development of culture as a function of the family. The next function of the family that we have is the religious development. Family is the only institution where religious development of the child can be ensured. In other words, the basic religious and spiritual faith is laid down in the home. So, in the religious environment of the family, the child learns to follow the principles of a particular religion, with the result that religious, moral, and ethical values develop in him without any difficulty. The next one we have is the economic development. In a family, the child enjoys economic security and all his economic needs are fulfilled by the parents, and freedom from economic worries is an essential condition for the balanced personality of the child. The other functions of family we have is development of languages. The child learns his mother tongue in a natural way at his home. Schools only reform it and add to the vocabulary. So the basis takes place at home only. So we observe the children belonging to educated and cultured families pronounce the words correctly in comparison with those who come out from the backward and the illiterate families. So development of languages is another important function of a family. Development of interests and habits. Good or bad habits and interests of a child spring up and develop in the home in which he lives, and these good or bad habits and interests form the character of the child. If parents and other members of the family are unmindful and indifferent towards the activities of the child, he or she develops such bad habits and interests that plague him all through his life and do great harm to his family members also. So, development of the interests we have seen that as well as the habits is also another function of the family. Let us see the educational functions of the family. When we talk of the educational functions of the family, we can talk about the primary social organization. The family is the first primary social organization. Family teaches the basic functions of living. It is the basis of personality. Vocational education can be learnt at home. Self-confidence and positive outlook, social interaction, citizenship education, moral and the spiritual values. Some more can be added up out here, like whatever functions we have in the family, everything has an educative value indeed. So let us come to the concluding remarks that family is the function of the family. Home the functions of the family. Home is the most important informal agency of education, and it is an agency which is responsible for imparting early education and laying down the basis of the further education. Family is one of the most effective agency of education, and it is in fact the very basis of all social, moral, economic, aesthetic, cultural, religious and spiritual interactions in the family and in the society. So we can say that family it is the foundation of everything and foundation of for the further education. So with this we end our thank you.